All right, folks. So I'm excited to be here with you. 8 o'clock Eastern time, evening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're in. Thank you for joining the session. I'm going to cover some information about Viva Topics with a special focus on more of the knowledge management side of it. And just kind of give you a little bit of an overview for what's there and maybe talk a little bit about some of the things that are also coming with it. So with that, just do a quick introduction. First, I want to say thank you to Joel, Galen, and Ryan for having me, and thank you to the entire team that puts this event on. It's an amazing event. And trust me when I tell you, I know what it takes to put on something, put on an event. So, this is much larger than anything I've done. I can only imagine the effort and resources and all it takes for these guys to do this. So thank you to them for doing this. And, a big part of delivering any successful event is having a great set of sponsors. And we have an amazing set of sponsors. So I want to thank each of those sponsors for their support for the event. And I hope they continue to support the event going forward. So thank you all to the sponsors. So with that, then I will jump into, did I jump past it? My agenda. So I mentioned I'm going to touch on the knowledge managers part of Viva, really Viva Topics, and I'm just going to show you some demo stuff with it. The whole problem that it's solving is it's really employees have an issue with finding information. They spend a lot of time searching for information, and they spend a lot of time recreating information that already exists just because they can't find it. So Viva Topics is really what it's doing is it's surfacing knowledge that an organization already has up into the context of where employees are working so that they can easily find the information they need to be successful in their jobs. So that's kind of the first couple pieces of it. We're going to jump pretty quickly into the demo part of it and then wrap up with any Q&A that you guys have. A little bit about my background. I don't even want to tell you everything that I go back from, but I've been as part of the SharePoint community since before it was SharePoint, and I've got 20 plus years experience at this point. I was part of the initial testing teams for product Tahoe, which eventually became SharePoint 2001. And I've been involved with SharePoint ever since then. And a few years ago when they released Teams, I focus much more on Teams deployments now than on the SharePoint side of things. With Viva coming and it's surfacing up information inside of Teams, it's a great way of marrying all of the Microsoft 365 platform technologies. So I've got a bunch of certifications. I've written a bunch of books. I've written a bunch of articles, and I run an event called teamsdayonline.com, and we do full day sessions around Microsoft Teams. So check us out sometime. Viva Topics. Microsoft's done a lot of research and around that basically shows that people spend a lot of time each day searching for information. So, between 1 and 3 hours a day, they say, is spent just searching for information or recreating information that already exists. So, that adds up across the time of a year to about 7 weeks a year. Now, you think about it, you got an organization that's got a couple 100,000 employees. If each employee is spending 7 weeks a year just searching for and recreating information, that's a huge amount of time for an organization to lose just for those activities. So a big part of the idea of topics is to give that time back to the employees so that they can do, apply that better for the organization. So, employees, they just spend a lot of times, they have several tasks going on, they're working on simultaneously, but they're context switching, with multitasking between different things with emails and Word documents and chats and, just working in different types of tasks, all trying to do that at the same time. And it really kind of prevents people from getting on a roll with being able to focus on things. So, Teams and Viva is really trying to help surface information up to them inside of a single context of Microsoft Teams, but get access to information that's elsewhere stored in the Microsoft 365 platform. So, to address these issues, Microsoft created Viva Topics. And Topics builds on Microsoft 365 and applies artificial intelligence to identify knowledge and experts from across the organization and categorize them into shared topics, essentially. So the AI is really part of SharePoint syntax. It's part of the engine underneath of that. And it helps organize that knowledge into topics, and it does it automatically. It goes out, it indexes content, and based on what it finds, it summarizes them into topics and, pulls that information together into what's called a topic page that are editable. So if you have experts within your company or your knowledge managers, essentially, they can go into those pages and edit them. One way to think about Viva Topics and what it's doing is think about like a Wikipedia on steroids. It's basically giving you that wiki functionality, but it's the AI engine underneath of it that's generating the wiki pages initially, based on rules that are set up in syntax. So that's really kind of what it's doing, and it's a powerful way to surface up those topics and topic cards, so that basically when an employee sees like an acronym or a topic title or something inside of it, could be inside of Microsoft Teams in a chat. It can be inside of a SharePoint page, wherever they're looking and working. If they have an acronym that matches a topic name, they'll see that it's hot linked essentially, and they can open the full topic page from there. First, it'll pop up and open the topic card, and then you can drill down and I'll show you this, but it'll drill down into the full details around that specific topic. So it's basically it's organizing and summarizing content into digestible bits of information, and then marrying that to the context that the user's working in, so that when they're working on something, a specific subject, they have quick, easy access to information that's related to that. So it saves all that time searching across the organization. So I'm going to jump over into a demo of it at this point. The demo is really, really quick, but let me open this up for you here. So there's a couple things with topics. First of all, when you go in and you first set it up, there is licensing that's required, and the licensing is $5 per user per month, and that's in addition to if you have like an E3 license. There is a trial that's available in your Microsoft 365 platform for 25 users. I think it's a 30-day license, and you can set that up and use that to start testing it. Now, you can do this against your environment today and basically secure the topics information, so only a small group of users that are part of the testing would actually see any of this. So you can have it running against your environment. But once you assign, you essentially either go through the process of getting the trial, or you buy licenses and assign those to the users. You go through the setup area in Microsoft 365, and it walks you through setting up Viva Topics, and it's really quick. There's like 4 screens to set it up, and you're just doing things like saying who can contribute content, who can manage the content, who can view the content, those type of things initially to get it set up. And then from there, that's where kind of the catch comes in for me, at least. Depending on how much information you have in your SharePoint environment, it can take anywhere from 10 to 14 days to fully index that content and create those topic cards. So I have this running against one of my client environments right now, and it is very slow because they have a lot of information in there. But each day there's more and more topics that pop up as suggested topics. But even my demo environment, when I set this up, I actually didn't set it up until yesterday, and I should have set it up 2 weeks ago. But this part of it still hasn't finished indexing the content that's in the demo environment, and there's really not a lot there. But there is some stuff showing up, so I want to walk you through the things that are showing up. So so this is, I mentioned when you set this up, one of the things that it does is it creates a topic center, which is a site collection inside of SharePoint that you build. You manage the content within it, and you build your wiki pages and all, and they live there and then get surfaced up elsewhere. But when you first go in, this page is usually blank, and this is something that takes time to populate. But once it starts indexing content, it'll start creating these topic areas here for you, and you'll see these. So if I'm logged in as Megan in this case, so I'm specified, or Megan's specified as an expert on this topic, so this is actually being shown for her. And she has some type of relationship to drones also, so that's also showing up for her, and as well as the facilities and delivery. So when you come into the topic center, this is what you see. Now, across here, you've got just a document library, your pages library, your contents. But the key area that you want to focus on is this manage topics here. And I'm going to tell you there's a little catch with this, and actually it's showing up on the screen right now. When you click manage topics there, notice that it disappeared from the navigation. And it does bring me to my manage topics page, but to get back to it, you can see it's still disappeared off of there. And it usually takes a couple times or refreshing the page for it to actually show up. Now it's back. So I don't know what's going on with the navigation with it, but something's a little kludgy with it. So watch out for that. But if we go back into our topics here, you'll see we have suggested, confirmed, published, and removed topics. So the suggested topics, this is the area that gets populated by the AI engine as it goes out and indexes the content and starts creating these topic cards. It'll present a long list here of topics. And if you're a really large company with a lot of content in your SharePoint environment, you can end up with thousands of items here to go through. But that's part of the knowledge manager's job with this, is to basically come into this and go through the content that's in there and curate it. So it goes through a couple stages in the process. So what I'm going to show you is, there's also a confirmed section. So when you see something that's listed as suggested on this page, you have the option to basically confirm that, and then it actually moves to this area. and you can edit it within this area and then publish it. And when it publishes, you end up on this side. So you can see I do have a series of topics in here that are all listed as being published. And I'll kind of walk you through some of this that I can with it. But basically, when you click on this, this is your topic, and you can see you immediately get your topic card that pops up. Well, this topic card, this is the same thing that's showing up in Teams, in SharePoint, and my understanding is this is going to also work within all of the Office tools yet also. So, you know, if you're writing a Word document and you reference facilities and delivery, it's going to present the topic card for you right inside of the context of Office, which is just great. So, you know, it gives you a summary on the topic card here, but then you can drill down into the view details. So you click view details, and, you know, this is where your actual, that wiki page is that I mentioned. So you can see within here, you have some different things. You have a title, you have some alternate names that you can specify. So you can also specify a short description. You can pin people or experts that are associated with this topic. And as well, you can pin pages, any type of documents or pages that are associated with the topic, and as well as any type of related sites and all down here. Now, I skipped over this. These are suggestions. So you can basically go through and you know, mark these as pages as part of it, so that when they would show up here. So with this page, as a knowledge manager, you can come in here now and you can actually edit this page, and you know, you have your title here, so you could change the title of it if that's appropriate. You can also add additional you know, alternate names in for this. So I'm just going to say FD in this case, and you just go through and you add anything that is essentially an acronym for that, so that, you know, when people are referencing it in those other locations, if it finds that match, it'll pop that topic card for them right inside there. You also have the capability to put in a short description here for you know, about the topic itself, and then this actually, in this case here, this was all populated by that AI engine that created this page. I didn't create this page. I'm going in to edit a page that the AI engine on the back end created for me based on the indexing of the content. And it automatically found references to these people associated with that topic. So it automatically pinned them in there. But you can see I can go in and I can add others in here. So let's specify Alex, and you can just add them in there. Also, if you would think that, okay, so we'll say Nestor here, he should be the primary contact. You have the capability to adjust those around in whatever order you want to see them in, or that are correct. Then you come down here and you can actually add in to your pinned files and pages. So if you click next, you can select something from in here, and we'll see if operations has something in it that we can specify. So we're going to pin that in as part of it, and you know, it basically brings that document right into that pin section. So you're curating the content. These are other suggestions for it. If you want to pin one of these, let's say this facilities and delivery, we're just going to click that and it moves it to the top section so that that's specified also. And then down here with the related sites, you go through the same process, but you're saying, you know, a site in this case. So we're just going to say the Contoso. We're going to add that in, so you can see that automatically added that in. And, you know, you're building out what this page looks like. But then when you get down the bottom here, they have these related topics. So if there's other topics that are related to facilities and delivery in this case, you can specify what they are. So we have a project called Project Titan. And type a few letters, and it prompts me there. It says, okay, add a description. So I'll just short the script and say update that. Okay, so that's not the only one we have. We have another one called, what was that other one called? There's one Mark 8 in here. That's not it. Can't think of the name of the other product. Okay, Digital Services Initiative. We can use that one. And DSI, we'll call that one. And just say, and put that in there. So essentially what you're just doing is you're basically building a relationship between the related topics. Now, one of the things that's important about this, I mean, this kind of, it builds a map for the user that's viewing the page, but I think what's more important about it is this feeds into the AI engine. So when it starts going back and trying to say, okay, how does this relate to other knowledge within the organization, as it's doing that indexing, it's using this map to establish those relationships. So, it's an important step in the process. Now, down the bottom here, you can also have allow employees to comment on this. You can shut it off or you can shut it on. You can shut it off or you can turn it on. So I'm going to leave it on in this case. And, so at this point, we've really built out our page. And all we have to do up here is come up and just republish it. So it's republished, and you can see what it looks like. So, we have our topic name at the top. We have the associated names, and there's the FD that I added. The short description is there. We added Alex in there. We added a couple pinned files in, and we added our Contoso site in there, and here's our map down here for it, as well as our comments. Now, the conversations about this start feeding into this. So if I say, okay, Nestor, I don't know, what's going on? All right, Nestor, is this information correct? You have the capability, for the employees, they just start pulling that information in. And the other part of why this is important is right away, it pulls that expert in to respond to this. So they get a message to basically notifying them that there's a conversation that's been started on a topic that they're listed as an expert for, so that if somebody has a question like I just put in there, they can jump in and answer that question. Well, the AI engine takes all of that information into account as part of building the topic pages and the relationships and all. And next time somebody answers that or asks that question, instead of the AI engine notifying the expert, it automatically answers the question for them within the context of the page. So, it's leveraging the expertise in multiple ways with it. So I thought that was a really interesting part of topics and building your pages. So with that, that's kind of the topic center itself. From within here, you can also create a new topic page. So just, going through that same thing again that we went through, but just, you're specifying your title, any type of alternate names, a short description, who the experts are on it, and, the pin pages, sites, and documents and all with it. So, and then you would publish that there. And it just begins that process of, it goes into the AI engine indexes it, the pages become, I lost that managed topics again at the top. So if I want to kind of get that back, there it goes. So we go back into that managed topics page, And when you start creating that topic, it'll move that through this process of going from suggested to confirmed that it's a valid topic to published, and out so that these can actually be edited. So that's kind of the setup of it. But then this information then starts showing up also inside of your Teams client. So as it finds pieces that are information that map to that, it pops up those topic cards right within here. So if it just like it, so this is a person card, but if this was related to that specific topic, it would show the topic information right in here. And the AI engine and Viva Topics basically handles all that for you. So I think that's pretty much it in terms of the knowledge management component of it, the curation of the content, and just how that works. So I think I'm going to jump back at this point and see. I have some screenshots just in case the demo didn't work, which it really don't have everything that I wanted to in the actual demo. So let me just kind of walk through some of this other stuff and see if there's anything else here that we haven't talked about. But you can see here that it has this highlighting for this. This is the topic for Project SOAR. So if you select that, it pops up the actual card, and this is what the card looks like with, as I showed you in the topic center, with the people associated with it and the sources associated with it. You can then click down on the view details, and it jumps down into the actual page itself so that you can see that page. And this is the part about as people are asking questions, it's showing as part of that, and it's going out to the experts for the answers, and then it reuses that information going forward. So it's just it's an excellent way of working with it. Covered that really. And so inside of Teams, this is a look at what the page would be, what you would see inside of Teams. So there's an app essentially that plugs into the desktop version of Teams, and it gives you your Viva Topics presentation for your end users. So they have the capability of going in, and on the home tab, they'll see things that are suggested for them and that are relevant for them. But they also have the capability to click down onto My Topics, and anything that where they were specified as an expert shows up there. And they also have the capability, if they are authorized to, when you set up Viva Topics, you can specify who has the capability to modify topic content. So you could have a small team of knowledge managers that just manage the content. Nobody else can actually modify it. Or you can treat it more like a real Wikipedia, and give everybody in your company access to it and let them modify the topics. So each company is going to kind of approach it differently. You can also use a security group. So you may have some pages that are accessible to some individuals to edit, and versus other pages that are not available for them to edit. So, if you click on manage there, this is what the view is that the user actually sees at this point for any topics that are relevant to them and that they can view, so that they can actually modify this and manage their content inside of Teams, as well as in the topic center the way I was showing you. And that's really kind of covers everything that I have with Viva Topics at this point. So I think at that, I'm just going to kind of open it up to questions. If anybody has any questions, put them into the chat, and I'll see if, actually, let me open that up and see if there's anything in there. Okay. So if you have any questions, go ahead, pop them up. Otherwise,
I'm just going to come off mute. I got a couple questions for you.
Okay, go.
Tell me about you talked about how long it took. I'm just curious. It seemed to me that there was a lot of kind of framework stuff that when you first install it, it kind of just goes in the right places, but you don't really know what it's doing. Is there any guidance or best practice that you would have around how to make it feel productive? I understand like it takes a while for it to do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me as well like you've really got to get the licensing just right in order for people to see it.
Correct. Yeah. And, that's something that I think companies are going to work their way into also, in that they're going to probably start with a small group of people that are going to have access to it. And then they may kind of extend it out into different departments, like an engineering department where they have, product development type content that they, it's really expertise driven, and start using it within areas like that and license those groups and those individuals. So the nice thing about it is as soon as you apply the license to the individual, with what I saw, you have to log out of Teams and log back into Teams to see it inside of Teams, that functionality in there. But you can go to the Topics Center and see the suggested topics and all at that point. To kind of answer the first part of your question, I think the tweaking of the rules happens in the SharePoint syntax engine, and it gives you the capability to apply different relationships and conditions and all in that side of things, whereas Viva Topics is really just kind of surfacing that information up inside of Teams. So I think it was called SharePoint syntax, but I think it was one point it was SharePoint topics too. So it's just kind of leveraging that infrastructure that's already part of SharePoint and the Microsoft 365 platform and surfacing it up into Teams and as part of Viva.
I think one of the things sorry, if anybody's got any other questions, feel free to jump in, but I'm curious about the timing. Like if you're trying to encourage somebody who's like trying to do a demo, what kind of expectations would you have for them around, hey, you're going to spend a day setting it up, configuring it, setting up the licensing, and then you're going to basically leave it, let it do its thing, and then come back, like trying to build out that first POC for a client.
Exactly.
Do you have any guidance around like how long to let it run? And well, like it seems like it's very much around how much data do they have, and it seems like it's a little bit of some magic around the box that is, well, you can start to see things pop in, but it takes such a long time that most POCs, I don't think people plan them that way, where it's like, oh yeah, well, it's a 30-day trial. Well, how do you fit that 30-day trial in so that you can actually really feel like you're exercising it?
Yeah. So I think that's one of the challenges that we're going to kind of have to work through with it. The actual setup of it, in terms of just getting the Viva Topics piece is, it's literally minutes, but to work through it your first time, it's a couple hours to just kind of get it set up. It's not much. There's essentially inside of the the admin center, there's 4 or 5 screens that you go through to basically set it up and generate your topic center. So in a way, you can go through it in a matter of minutes with finishing that piece. At that point, you really kind of got to let it sit and from what I saw, it takes at least 24 hours for it to even start indexing the content. And the one environment, the client environment that I've got it running in, it's been running in about 72 hours at this point, and there's still only 125 or 150 topics in there as of earlier today. So it's a slow process, and there's things that you can continue to do, like I was mentioning about like tweaking some of that stuff inside SharePoint syntax around it. You can build some of your own topic pages, but my guidance would be to, once you set it up, to let it run, give it its time, but it's going to vary based on the environment as to how much time it has. I mean, if you've got millions and millions of documents in your SharePoint environment, that's going to take a long time for it to go through and create topics and all the relationships.
And would you say there's also a minimum size? Like, I've noticed setting it up in small environments, sometimes it doesn't even seem like it's doing anything.
Right. Well, that's what with this demo. I mean, it basically, I'll probably go in there tomorrow and there'll be, some more stuff that'll be topics that'll be created. One of the things you can do too is, so you were saying about the POC part of it, is you can, if you are working in a really big environment, you can restrict the sites that it actually pulls into topics. So I mentioned the engineering. If you wanted to go just against your engineering content, inside of the configuration, when you set it up, you can say just do engineering, and we're going to use topics against engineering. So you could do your POC that way, which will, it's focused on one area of content instead of all areas across your environment. So, no, so okay, some questions. We're in the process of migrating our file shares to SharePoint Online, but we'll need to wait until we have a significant amount of content in SharePoint Online until we can start a trial. I guess that's up to you and your organization, but to just kind of do the trial, as I mentioned, you can kind of pick one area, and as you migrate that in, bring that in and start having topics generated from that. And that would at least kind of get you going with it, and allowing your knowledge managers to get up to speed with it. And it's really kind of the next generation of the intranet too, is with all of this automation and artificial intelligence coming in. It's that we've been through the the file shares and the document libraries, and this is really kind of that next level with applying specific intelligence to surface information for your employees. So I would say don't wait until you get everything in there. Pick a certain area and get started with that. Is the $5 a month per user for all 4 Viva modules? No, this is for just Viva Topics. Now, Viva Connections is free at this point, at least, and Viva Insights has a free component. There's like a Viva Insights is personal, is free, but then when you use Viva Insights Manager or Viva Insights Leadership, I think it's called, they're both additional licensing that's required for those. And Viva Learning is going to be a licensed, and I don't know the details around the licensing for Viva Learning, but my understanding is that it's going to kind of apply that same model that Viva Insights is using, in that you're going to get a little bit for free, and then if you want to do like hook it into an LMS, that's going to be additional licensing and all that's going to be required. So I'm not sure what the breakpoint is though with Viva Learning for that. How are topic cards used with teams in organizations? Are teams connected to topic cards? Are channels created based upon a topic? No, not that I've seen. Essentially, the way I've seen it being surfaced up is, as a topic appears like in a chat inside of Teams, it'll be highlighted, and if you hover over that title, it'll pop up the topic card, so that you can see the kind of the summarized version of the topic, and it gives you that link for viewing details to drill down onto it. So looks like that's all the questions that are in the chat, but if anybody has additional questions, I've got additional time. And if not, I can give you back 15 minutes of your day. All right, Joel, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. Great job.
All
Great
right.
job, Russ.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for including me, and congratulations on an amazing event.
Well done. Well done.
All right, folks. Thanks so much. Have a great day.